welcome back to the PhatPhish Guitar Studio. I'm Dave, and in this video we're going to be taking a look at some more chord construction. Basically we're going to be following on from the previous video I did where we looked at triads and harmonising a major scale out in basic 3-note chords called triads. In this video we're going to add an extra note and build some 7 chords. If you haven't seen the video about triads, then I'll put a link to it in the information section down there. This is what we're going to do in this video, is build on a lot of the theory that was introduced in that video about triads. So if you're not up to speed and comfortable with the theory behind building triads and harmonising a major scale out in 3-note chords, then spend a bit of time getting comfortable with that before you kind of move on and look at the stuff that's covered in this tutorial. So in the video about triads we were working with the C major scale, which has the notes C, D, E, F, G, A, B, and back to C. And what we did with that scale was we took each degree and built a 3-note chord on it, and we got this. Now there's 3 different types of chord here. There's the major triad, which occurs on the 1st, 4th and 5th degree, and it's got the formula 1, 3, 5. Got the minor triad, which occurs on the 2nd, 3rd and 6th degrees, and it's got the formula 1, flat 3, 5. And we've got the diminished triad, which occurs on the 7th degree, and it's got the formula 1, flat 3, flat 5. I think initially we were just talking about them in terms of like the triad names, but we can use some symbology for them, and the way of writing it is just the letter on its own denotes a major triad, the letter with a small m after it means a minor triad, and that small circle means diminished. So we're going to use these as the basis for building some 7 chords. Now in that previous video the approach we took was to build a major scale on each one of those root notes, take the 1st, 3rd and 5th degree and see how the notes from that relate to the scale that we're working with in the context of the C major scale, and alter the notes accordingly. So sometimes we had to flatten the 3rd degree, or sometimes we had to flatten the 5th degree. The way I'm going to approach the harmonisation in this video is a little bit different, just to show you another way of doing it. There's no right way, there's no wrong way, we always end up with the same end product. It's just to kind of show you a different way of doing the harmonisation. So we'll start off on the root note of C major, which is C. Now on that 1st degree we've got a major triad 1, 3, 5 with C, E and G. All we do when we build a 7 chord is we just continue that pattern of taking alternate notes from the scale. So we took the 1st, we took the 3rd, we took the 5th, let's keep going and take the 7th. Now the 7th degree of C major is B, so we add that into the chord and we get a C major 7 chord. It's called a C major 7 chord because it's built on a C major triad and it's got a 7th degree added to it. It's got the formula 1, 3, 5 and 7, and we can either write it as C capital M7, or more commonly you'll see it written as C and this little triangular symbol 7. So the triangular symbol kind of means major, so C major 7, it tells you it's a C chord, C triad with an added 7th degree with the formula 1, 3, 5 and 7. If you've got a chord dictionary or something, you can use that to find shapes or different ways to play the C major 7 chord on the fingerboard. With all chords there's lots of different ways of arranging the notes on the fingerboard, particularly with the way the guitar's tuned in comparison to something like a piano where the notes are laid out. Guitar, the way the notes repeat themselves on the neck, there's lots of different shapes. And if you've got a copy of PhatPhish, what you can do is put that into arpeggio mode, select major 7 chord as your chord type, select C as your root note, and then that'll show you where all the notes of C major 7 occur right the way across the fingerboard, and you can start to pick out shapes that you can play. So you can get a chord shape, something like this one here. So that chord is C major 7 chord, 1, 3, 5, 7 with C as the root note, and it's got quite a distinctive sound. It's got a happy sort of sound as you might expect because it's built on a major chord, but it's got a much more interesting sound than just a basic C major chord, because by adding that 7th degree in, the harmony within the chord becomes a little bit more complex. Okay, so let's move on and see what chord we've got on the second degree. On the second degree of C major we've got D, and we previously harmonised that out in triads. We had a minor triad, D minor triad with the formula 1, flat 3, 5, D, F and A. Now if you just look at the notes involved in that triad and look back at the C major scale, effectively what we're doing is just taking alternate notes from the C major scale but starting from a D. So we keep that process going, and as well as the D, the F and the A, we add in the next alternate note, which is C, add that into the chord, we get a chord with the notes D, F, A and C. And let's look at how that C relates back to D major, because you always use the major scale with the same root note as your frame of reference. D major scale has a C sharp in it, so this C natural, we have to think of that as being a flat 7 degree. So that means the chord we've got here has got the formula 1, flat 3, 5, flat 7. That's what's called a D minor 7 chord. It's written as D, lowercase m, and a 7. And if we compare the sound of that chord there, so this is the shape of a D minor 7 chord. It's got a distinctive sound compared to a major 7 chord. So even if we play, say, a D major 7, which isn't the chord we're looking for, compared with D minor 7, you can hear the minor 7 chord's got the different sound. It's quite a sadder sound because it's built on a minor triad. So the chords we've got so far: C major 7, first degree, and D minor 7th on the second degree. Let's keep going, build some more chords. On the third degree we've got an E minor triad, E, G and B, 1, flat 3 and 5. Again, just taking alternate notes from the C major scale. E, G, B, next note up is D. If we add that into our chord, and if we think about how the notes of that chord relate back to E major has a D sharp in it, so that D natural must be a flat 7th degree. We've already got a flat 3rd with a G, because there's a G sharp in an E major scale, but in this particular chord we've got a G natural to fit in with the notes of C major. So if you look at the numbers involved, it's 1, flat 3, 5, flat 7. Same formula as we had for the D minor 7. This is built on E, so we've got an E minor 7 chord as our third chord in the key of C major. Going up to the next degree of F, F, A and C, 1, 3, 5, it's built on a major triad. Going to the C major scale, taking alternate notes based on F, F, A, C, the next note up. Next alternate note up is E. If we add that into the chord, look at the notes involved in the F major scale. E belongs to F major, so we don't need to alter it in any way. So this chord has notes that are commensurate with the F major scale. So we've got a 1, a 3, a 5 and a 7. It's a major triad with an added 7th degree, so we've got an F major 7 chord on the 4th degree. Same type of chord as we had on the 1st degree, but with an F root note. Going up to the 5th degree, see what we've got there. We've got a G major triad again, but if we take alternate notes from the C major scale, G, B, D and F, add that into the chord, and we'll just compare those chord notes against the G major scale. The G, B and D are fine because we're based on a G major triad, but if you look at the notes of the G major scale, it's got an F sharp in it. This particular chord's got an F natural to fit in with the notes of C major, so what we've got here is a flat 7th degree. So this chord, for all it's built on a major triad, it's got 1, 3, 5, flat 7 as its formula. Now that's not a major 7 chord. We've already seen a major 7 chord, 1, 3, 5 and 7. So for all this chord here is built on a major triad, we can't call it a major 7 chord because it hasn't got a natural 7th degree, it's got a flat 7th. And the name for this type of chord is a dominant 7 chord. We call it that because the 5th degree of a major scale is known as the dominant tone, and this particular type of chord only occurs in a major scale on the 5th degree. So dominant 7 chord, 1, 3, 5, flat 7, and that's got its own distinctive sound. pretty unresolved sounding, but again, based on a major scale, so it's got a certain happiness to it. On to the 6th degree now. A, C and E. Just keep taking alternate notes from the C major scale, and we add in a G as the next alternate note in the scale. Look at the notes of A major. Yeah, we know that C was flattened from C sharp, it gives the flat 3rd degree, and you notice that A major scale's got a G sharp in it. This chord has got a G natural, so the formula for this chord is 1, flat 3, 5, flat 7. It's the same formula as we had on the 2nd degree and the 3rd degree. It's a minor 7 chord, minor triad with an added flat 7 degree. That is a minor 7 chord. Lastly, we'll move on to the B. We've got a diminished triad on that degree. Keep going with taking alternate notes from the C major scale. B, D, F and A. Look at the notes of the B major scale. As you can see, none of these notes from the chord are going to fit in with the notes of B major. So we flattened the 3rd degree and we flattened the 5th. We're also going to have to flatten the 7th degree. So this chord's got the formula 1, flat 3, flat 5 and flat 7. Now it's based on diminished triad, but the formula for this chord here is actually half diminished. Don't worry too much about why a diminished triad only ends with a half diminished chord, but yeah, a half diminished chord has the formula 1, flat 3, flat 5, flat 7. Some people call it a minor 7 flat 5, which also makes sense because if you think about it, a minor 7 chord is 1, flat 3, 5, flat 7, so lower that 5th degree to a flat 5. We end up with a chord with the same formula. But in the key of C major, the 7th chord of the key is B half diminished, B, D, F and A as the notes involved. So this is the C major scale harmonised out in 7 chords: C major 7, D minor 7, E minor 7, F major 7, G7, G dominant 7, but we just tend to call it G7. Don't mention the word dominant. It's a dominant 7 type chord, but we don't use the word dominant in the chord name. A minor 7 and B half diminished. And what we've got really is a set of generic formula. So this is the set of chords harmonised from the key of C major, but if you just look at the numbers involved, you could take that formula and you could apply it to any key. So what I'd suggest you do as a bit of an exercise is pick yourself a major scale, so A major as an example. Look at the formula that you need to build a 7 chord on each degree of that scale. Take the alternate notes out of the A major scale or whatever scale you happen to be working with and try harmonising it out in 7 chords. And you'll always find you have the pattern of a 1 major 7, 2 minor 7, 3 minor 7, 4 major 7, 5 dominant 7, 6 minor 7 and a set half diminished. This is one of those things, if you haven't done this sort of music theory before, you might find it takes you a little while to get your head around it, but a good way to get comfortable is to just sit down with a pen and paper and actually work out, here's a scale, these are the notes involved, these are the formulas for the chords, and harmonising each a chord out on each degree to harmonise the scale. And obviously it's nothing without a bit of practical application, so sitting down with a copy of PhatPhish to work out where the notes of those chords occur on the neck, or sitting with a chord dictionary or something to find shapes of those chords that you can actually play and you can use them in your chord progressions. I'll do another video, we'll talk a little bit more about the application side of it really. This video I want to concentrate more just on the theory side of things. But ultimately it's a means to an end. It's about understanding what notes you've got in a chord, understanding what chords you've got available to you within a key, so you can start to put them together and build chord progressions. But like I say, more about the practical application in a future video. Okay, if you've got a question or suggestion for a future video, then if you want to go here, you can fill in a form, send your question in, I'll try and get around to answering it. Some people leave comments and questions in the comment section on YouTube. Quite often I don't actually see those. YouTube is absolutely rubbish at telling me when people are commenting on videos, so I think there's quite a lot of questions going unanswered because I just don't get notified when they get posted as comments on YouTube videos. Sending questions in via that form is much more reliable. I hope you found that useful. If you did, then please click like down there. If you really enjoyed it, then please click subscribe, which is also down there. If you subscribe, then you'll be kept up to date with any new videos that I upload onto the PhatPhish Guitar Studio channel on YouTube. Okay, that's all for now. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you in another video next time. Bye for now.